She put my name with yellow hearts. Yeah, she did. I said she was a work of art.
Hello everybody, and today we are doing What If Deku had Sans' Abilities, Part 1. And we are on the road to 100 subscribers, everybody. We only need 4 subs, and we will be doing a mass What If today. We'll be doing this What If's Part 1, and we'll be doing What If Deku had Full Counter Part 1 and 2 later today. So, anyway, Deku, he's born a normal child. He makes friends at the age of 4. He still gets bullied, but when Deku eventually gets to the quirk doctor, he's pronounced quirkless, and this bums Deku out. And for the rest of elementary school and most of middle school, he is bullied and demeanored, all that stuff by Bakugo. And that's when eventually he meets this guy who is covered with all bones, and he thinks this must be a dream. Like, there's no way someone has that wacky of a quirk. And then the man comes up to him, and then Izuku's like, "Sorry for staring, sir." And then Sans is like, "What power do you have, kid?" And then Deku's like, "I don't have one." And Sans is intrigued, like, "Okay. Are you strong?" Deku's like, "Not really." What are your thoughts on heroes? Deku's like, "I want to become the #1 hero, but I don't know if I can do that without a quirk." And Sans is like, "How about I give you one?" And Deku's like, "What? You can't transfer quirks. Are you insane?" And then Sans is like, it's like, "Just hold out your hand." Then Deku holds out his hand, and then Sans shakes it. And then Deku hears a brrr, and Sans is like, always the whoopee cushion in the hand trick. And it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just joking. This is how we actually transfer a quirk." And Sans puts his hand on Deku's shoulder, and a massive beam of light goes through Deku's body, and then Deku gets a jolt of power. Then he sees one of his fingers turns a little more white. And then Deku's like, "Wait, what happened?" And then Sans is like, You'll see in time." And then he fades away into dust, and Deku's like, "What just happened?" And then he's like, "This is probably a dream." And then he keeps walking, and he's like, "Maybe it might not have been a dream. Did I just get a quirk?" Then he pulls his hand out. It's like, fire. And then he sees a bone shoot out, and Deku's like, "Oh my gosh. Wait. That would make sense. He was made of bones, so I can imagine bones. Okay. We're onto something here. Maybe I can be a true hero." And then he's walking all enthusiastic, and that's when he walks down an underpass, and the sludge villain jumps him. But this time, Deku instinctively shoots a bunch of bones at him. And these ones are blue this time, and Deku's like, "Oh, blue bones. This could be stronger." And then they all hit the sludge villain, and when the sludge villain tries to get out, pain surges through his body, and the sludge villain's like, "Nope, don't move, definitely don't move." Then Deku's like, "Maybe this one stops him." And then he shoots orange ones at him, and since he stopped moving, he also gets hit, and that's when he has an orange and blue one on him, so he'll constantly be in pain if you think about it. So Deku is like, "So this is what I've gathered from doing this," as he's writing in his notebook. "Orange, you have to move in, and blue, you have to not move on." And that's when All Might appears, and Deku's like, "Oh my gosh, All Might!" And then his eyes sparkles, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, All Might, I'm your biggest fan. Can I have an autograph? What's your quirk? what's your thoughts on being the number one hero? And he starts bombarding him with questions. And All Might's like, chill out, kid. You're giving me a headache. And then he's like, is that the sludge villain? And Deku's like, indeed. And All Might's like, what kind of quirk do you have, kid? That's a real villain. You must have some quirk, kid. And then Izuku sweating and's like, yeah. And All Might's like, what's with the sad face? And then Deku's like, I was just given this quirk. And then All Might eyes jolt at him like, wait, what? It's like, what's your quirk do? And Deku's like, I can shoot bones. They can be blue or they can be orange. If they're orange, you have to move when they are hit onto you. If you stop moving, it'll be like a real bone stuck in your body, and it'll basically be a knife into you. And All Might's like, interesting, and I assume the blue one does the opposite? And Deku's like, precisely. Then All Might's like, you got a strong quirk, kid. And that's when he's like, yeah, I'll just take this sludge villain, and I'll be on my way. And then Deku is like, wait. And then All Might turns around, knowing that his time is almost down. It's like, what? And then Deku's like, with my quirk, can I be a hero? And All Might's like, most definitely. You can definitely be a good one, kid. You can maybe even be a top 10 if you train hard enough at it. Probably can see you at UA. See ya, kid. And then Deku's like, what does he mean, see you at UA? I mean, yeah, I'm going to UA, but he'll see me there? And then he starts writing in his notebook like, maybe All Might's a teacher. That's good to remember. And Deku walks off. That's when eventually he hears a big boom in the distance. And then Deku runs over like, oh my gosh, what happened? And then he sees Bakugo and the sludge villain, and Deku's like, All Might? I thought he had him. And then he starts freaking out because he realizes that's Bakugo. I still can't understand why he was sad with him, though. But Deku, knowing that he has to protect everyone no matter what they did to him, he runs over, and that's when he thinks he'll have like some giant bone and throw it at him. But that's when one of these green blaster monster things appear out of nowhere, and they open their mouth and one giant green blast comes out. And Deku is like, oh my gosh. And then he sees it goes straight to the sludge villain, and he tries to block Bakugo because he wants to take over his body. And the sludge villain gets destroyed. And All Might's like, this kid's really something. And Bakugo falls onto the ground unconscious now. And that's just, All Might gets the sludge villain. And the heroes start bombarding him like, kid, that was very dangerous of you. You should not have done that. You risked your life for something that you didn't need to. The heroes could have handled it. And then Deku yells at them like, what do you mean? You guys weren't doing anything. You were there for a good amount of time. You could have done something. Even if your quirks aren't good for it, you can still at least attempt to save somebody. Then the heroes are like, it's like, look who you're talking to, kid. And they start yelling at each other. And then All Might busts up like, whoa there. No need to do that, everybody. And then all the reporters and everyone's like, oh, All Might. And then they all rush over to him. And then All Might's like, oh crap, I drew attention to myself. And then he jumps off. And right as he lands on the building up top, he goes deflated form, and it's like, whoa, that was a close one. And then Deku is still flabbergasted that he can summon these green blasters. Like, maybe it's out of adrenaline, or maybe I just have to work at it. This quirk I inherited from that bone guy was really strong. Thank you, sir. Whatever your name is. And then he puts his notebook away. It's like, this is my journey to becoming a hero. And then 10 months of training later, he arrives to the UA campus. Is like, this is what we've been training for. This is what we're working towards. And that's when he looks at his hand like, this is what we've been working towards. I still can't thank that man enough. Then he walks onto the campus like, time to become a hero in training. And that's when he trips. And it's like, oh crap. And right as he is about to fall flat on his face, his feet are back on the ground. He's like, wait, what? And then he sees a girl in front of her, bent down and was about to touch him, it looks like. And she's like, wait, what? Then she sees him behind her, and Ochako runs to him like, oh my gosh, you can teleport? And then Deku's like, I can? And Uraraka's like, oh, you might have just had a quirk mutation right at the entrance of UA. That's so cool. Hi, I'm Ochako Uraraka. What's your name? And Deku's like, Izuku Midoriya. And then Ochako's like, well, good luck on the exam. Bye. And then she walks off and Deku's like, oh my gosh, I talked to a girl. And yeah, he's all happy about that. And then he walks into the exam hall. And they do the written exam as always. Deku does probably better because he was determined to be a hero now. He had confidence and stuff. I mean, yeah, he had tons in the anime, but now he felt that this power was his own, not something just given to him, because this man had given him power out of free will, and All Might wasn't some fraud, as far as he saw. And so Deku, who is muttering to himself and taking notes during President Mike's explanation, Ida calls him out like, hey, mister, you should not be muttering. If you're going to do that, you should leave. And then Deku is like, what, me? What, who? Then Ida's like, you, stop muttering. And then he looks to President Mike, and you, sir, you didn't explain all the robots. In the pamphlet you gave us for the exam, there are 4 robots, and you've only explained 3. This is highly disrespectful of UA, perceived as the #1 hero school. I am very ashamed of you guys. And then President Mike, annoyed, like, if you would have just let me go on, I would have explained the final one. Then he explains the 0-pointer, and then it's all good. And Deku is embarrassed now, like, called out on the first day. Yikes. And that's when they get over to the practical exam part. And he sees Ochako in the part, and she's all nervous. And then Deku goes to walk up to her, and then Ida confronts him like, hey, you, what are you trying to annoy people? That's not very nice. And Deku's like, what? No, I was just going to comfort her. She seems nervous, and I just want to, fill her bucket. Why did I say that? Anyway, Deku the entrance exam starts. And then President Mike's like, 3, 2, 1. And then the gates open. Deku immediately jolts past everyone. They think he just ran really fast, but in reality teleported all the way to the robots. And he starts destroying them with his with his Deku blasters. And he's getting tons of points, and everyone's flabbergasted, like, how did he already get there? And Ida is still not over to the robots yet. He's like, dang, this guy's fast. Far faster than me. And everyone thinks Deku is some super speed quirk, and Deku only teleported. And Deku has 20 points by the time Ida arrives. because he's getting all the 3-pointers, the 2-pointers, even some 1-pointers. And that's when they see one giant group of 3-pointers, and Ida, right as he's about to rush towards them with a massive kick, Deku uses an onslaught of Gaster Blasters, and it all explodes the 3-pointers. And yeah. And Deku is rocking the exam, and he gets to 110 points. Near the end of the exam, he hears a cry for help, and he teleports over to there just to see the girl he met, Uraka, under some rubble, and then he hears this giant stomp. And that's when he sees up right above him the 0-pointer. And then Deku's like, I can't let this happen. Then he gets up on a Gaster Blaster and floats up to its level. And as the 0-pointer is winding back his fist, Deku unleashes what looks like 1,000 Deku Blasters at the 0-pointer. And this basically shatters the robot. And he goes down to Ochaka's level and is like, are you okay? Then he begins to get the rubble off of her. He's like, thank you so much, Izuku. And then she hears the exam end. And Deku is like, oh, the exam ended. Oh, here, I'll help you up. And then they get up, and then Deku carries her over to Recovery Girl, like, here, her name is Ochako. I found her under some rubble next to the 0-pointer. I hope you can help her. And then he gives her to Recovery Girl and then walks off. And 4 weeks later, Inko receives something in the mail, and Inko's like, what's this? And then sees it's the letter to Yue. And Inko's like, oh my gosh, did he get in? Then she runs as fast as she can over to Izuku's room and bangs on it like, Izuku, the letter came for Yue. And then Izuku's like, oh my gosh, really? He opens the door and takes it, then locks the door. And Inko is pacing over near his door. And Izuku gets to his desk and he rips open the letter and then sees the hologram of All Might. And All Might's like, hello, young Midoriya. I remember you from a couple months ago. You were great back then, and you just proved to me that you could do all the better as a great hero. You nearly broke my record. You got 198 points in the entrance exam against my 200, and you even uncovered the secret part of the exam with hero points in saving that girl Uraka. And you got number 1 in your class by far. So, Mr. Midoriya, welcome to your Hero Academia. And then the hologram ends and Deku screams, yes! Then opens his door and hugs his mom like, I got in! And then the next day he's walking up to the campus like, this is my journey to becoming one of the best heroes. And that's where I'll be leaving it off, guys. I just want to say thanks for all the support. In the last 28 days, we've grown 85 subscribers. I just want to say, guys, that is great. Thank you guys so much. 28 days ago, we had 12 subscribers. And now we're at 96. You guys are doing a great job. Thanks for all the support. This is Aizawa's cat. Signing off. Bye.
Never been lonely.